To a topic on the minds of many parents as kids are going back to school. Our next guest, award-winning journalist Jennifer Breheny Wallace, says today's students face unprecedented pressures to succeed. She spoke with more than 200 families and surveyed 6,000 parents for her new book. It's called Never Enough: When Achievement Culture Becomes Toxic and What We Can Do About It. Wallace writes that, quote, I want you to check this out. This is very good. These kids are running a course marked out for them without enough rest or a chance to decide if it's even a race they want to run. Jennifer Wallace joins us first on CBS Mornings. Good morning. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being
here. Of
here.
course.
You're here.
Thanks for coming in. Now, the book's introduction writes about a high school junior named Molly, and you describe her as belonging to a generation running in circles with their eyes shut. Explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, she was one of the earlier interviews, and what she really exemplified to me is that kids today are growing up in this, pressure cooker where every minute of their lives, the adults in it are sort of trying to maximize their potential, and I think Molly really showed that.
Experiences vary in these United States, right? Some people are just trying to get to school, let alone get into Harvard, right? So why focus on this particular segment of the upper end of the socioeconomic striver class?
Yeah, exactly. So I asked that same question to the researchers who have been studying this population. And the students that I interviewed for this book fall generally in the top 25% of household incomes. So that's roughly $130,000 a year or so. And the reason I focused on them is because they are a newly named at-risk group, according to national policy reports.
Which is bonkers to think about.
It is,
I know
right?
you're going to get a lot of eye rolls on that, Jennifer. People go, now we're supposed to consider high-income, high-achieving students at risk.
I said the same.
Explain, yes.
Yeah, I said the same thing to the researcher, and who was telling me about the findings, and she kind of very firmly slammed the table and said, a child is in pain and is a child in pain. Neither child, has control of their circumstances. So these kids are at risk, meaning they are 2 to 6 times more likely than the average American teen to suffer from clinical levels of anxiety, depression, and substance abuse disorder.
Including when you take a look at minority kids, too. You said that they are even more, they have more difficulty than inner city minority kids that don't have all the privileges. I think that would be surprising to a lot of people.
So they have the excessive pressure to achieve, but then they also have another layer of discrimination.
Discrimination, yes.
That they have to contend with.
So kids are they're being pushed by parents, by schools, by their community to pursue things that they may not actually even be interested in, but look good on a college resume. And then at the end of the day, they don't know who or what they are. Is that basically the issue?
That is the issue is that there is an unmet need to feel valued for who we are at our core, away from our external achievements. So the kids that I met who really seemed to be suffering felt like their worth was contingent on their GPA, how much they weighed, how many social media likes they got on a post. So what's putting our kids at risk is that they don't feel like they matter for who they are deep inside, that they always must be proving who they are.
You say to parents, it's not what you say, but what they hear. So here's a question. When do you push and when do you step back? And is there a way that you should push?
Right. So the experts that I interviewed, I asked the exact same question. As a mother of 3 teenagers, I wanted to know.
You said you're in it too.
I'm in it. I have a senior applying to colleges. And what I've been told time and time again is that parents should have expectations, but that bar should be adjustable, and it should be adjusted for each individual child. And what's more important than the shiny outcomes that we often get fixated on is how work gets done, right? A child could get an A by cheating. That's not obviously what you want. So at home, what you could do is scaffold them, teach them good, healthy work habits, teach them how to build a life of play and downtime and family time that they don't need substances to escape from. That's really the job of a parent.
And mattering matters. I think this is a really good point you're making, mattering.
Yeah, so I went in search of the healthy strivers. I wanted to know what, if anything, they had in common. What did their parents focus on at home? What was school like? And I outline it all in depth in the book, but it boils down to this idea that the kids who were striving in healthy ways felt like they mattered to their family, to their school, to their community, for who they were deep at their core. And they were also relied on to add value to others.
Yeah. I love that. And there's so many things that you can take away from this book as an adult. I got lost in chapter 3, Untangling SelfWorth from Achievement. It's very powerful because, as a kid, you are developing who you're going to become as an adult. And as an adult, we try to figure out how we achieve things and how that makes us feel. Why do you think it's important to create that distinction? That it's not about athletics and academics and how well you do that creates your self-worth, but what you see in the mirror?
Well, what I found among the healthy achievers is that they reached higher because they didn't believe that setbacks or failures were an indictment of their worth. So their worth was the same whether they succeeded or whether they failed, and that gave them a foundation to reach even higher.
And the conversations you had with parents, you said, made you a better parent.
Definitely.
And changes you've made. Can you tell us top 2 changes you made?
Yeah, so I mean, I asked the researcher, what could I do tonight? And she said, minimize criticism, prioritize affection. When they walk in the door, lead with lunch. Don't ask how they did on that test.
Yes, yes.
Don't praise them for being a great student. Get a PhD in them. See what is unique about them. Make them feel like they matter for who they are, not what they achieve.
That's good.
Well
Jennifer
said.
Wallace,
Yeah.
thank you so much. We appreciate you coming in. Never Enough is available today wherever you like to buy your books.